Hi everyone, and welcome to the Paul Chandler Show. I'm your host, Paul Chandler. Tonight we have an exciting episode for you because we're introducing the Padzilla. So we're adding a third element as far as the educational. We're still going to be coding examples on the whiteboard, clinical examples, and fun animated videos with Captain Awesome, but also procedural videos where we'll be using a Padzilla and a procedure will be performed on the screen. I'll be pointing out for it, so then that way, as far as the coders, yes, we're just looking at words, typed up on a screen or printed out, but then that way when we're reading the documentation, we'll have more experience on what the doctor is actually doing during the surgery itself. So stay tuned, and tonight we'll be doing our first episode on the Padzilla with Melanoma Excisions. Welcome back, everyone. Now, I'm excited about tonight's episode. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm always excited about our episodes, but I'm super duper, if that's cool to say. I'm excited about tonight's episode because we're introducing the Padzilla. So, world, meet Padzilla, Padzilla, meet the world. So we'll be using the Padzilla to be showing surgical procedures. So whether it be inpatient in the OR setting or outpatient in a doctor's office, again, more simple procedure, we'll be actually showing videos of procedures being performed, and while they're going on, I'll be pointing to certain aspects of it, so that way then as coders, we'll be able to be more familiar with what the doctor is actually doing on their side when they're doing the procedure, and then how we see it in words, whether it be on a screen or simply a piece of paper. And tonight we're going to be looking at the excision of melanoma. So when we have the excision of the melanoma, first, the doctor has to do some type of local injection of anesthesia, because if the doctor is making a scalpel incision into the skin, you really want that area to be numb, because if not, it's going to hurt like HELL, and I'll word it like that. So first, the doctor will make incisions after the injections. Yep, so we have kind of like an oval-shaped lesion here that the doctor's going to be removing. So that way, then the doctor is doing more with the scalpel of an oval-shaped excision. And remembering that if the excision that we're doing, if it's on a benign lesion, the margins tend to be smaller, if like 0.2, 0.3 centimeters. If the excisions are larger, then that's on a malignant. So here the doctor has made the excision, and that's what we want. There's the excision. So the doctor first made the incision with the scalpel going around, pulled out the skin, and then used the clippers, the scissors, to do the final excision of that lesion. So that way then the doctor took out the lesion and margins around it. Now then the doctor then using a tool then just kind of cleaning up some other areas in there and seeing some other, look at that. Yeah, that's nice and pretty, isn't it? Using the tool and cleaning up the extra areas. So in that way then any cells that possibly could have been removed are. Now the doctor has to do the closure. So in this part, so we see nice little tweezers and the stitches that are being applied. And since notice there was only one type of sutures that we're doing. So the excision that was made out was not down very deep. So then the doctor does not have to do an intermediate or complex repair. And that's where we have two overlapping sets of sutures. So if it's deeper down, the doctor has to do one layer of sutures and then do another layer of sutures up on top. So that way our 3 layers of skin stay together and don't go like that and kind of get off kilter. If they have deeper down, it only do sutures up on the top. But in this case, it was not deep down, so the doctor is placing the sutures in and tweezing to go back and forth. And depending on how long the lesion is, the doctor will generally take one set of sutures and do it in the middle, and so doing it by that part, it's a little bit more open on the bottom, you can see, but at least that's the good starting point. And then once we have that center stitch placed in, now the doctor is then going up on top, and then we see the loop around, and with the end point. So if you ever did needle threading, and basically the same principle, the needle goes in, needle's got to go out the other side. So then at this point then, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, then we have the sutures all the way down to the end. So we still have that, you see in the middle there where the first suture was placed, that extra security there. And then with the top suture and then having the suture go all the way down, yes, there's like blood going on, clean up the blood, and then patch up the patient with the gauze and then the tape around it. So that way then it protects the sutures from being caught on anything, whether it be a shirt or maybe in the shower, maybe just kind of scratching it too hard. So that's how we did the procedure on the excising out a melanoma. Seeing how the doctor takes the local injections of anesthesia, numbs up the area, then took the scalpel and did the oval shape type incision into the skin. And then we saw the doctor then excise out the melanoma, use the scissors to cut off on the bottom, and then as far as doing a simple repair, taking the sutures, doing the base in the middle, and then going from top to bottom. So in this case then, since we had the excision of a melanoma for the lesion, and then a simple repair as far as coating it, we would only coat the excision of the melanoma or the malignant lesion, since the simple repair is always included in that excision itself. Remembering that as far as coating, the only time we would do an excision and a repair closure with two separate codes is if only if we're doing an intermediate or a complex repair. In that case, because the doctor's doing more work, so they're getting more reimbursement for it. So in this simple case, be on the back, and then based on the size, it'd be excision of a malignant lesion, and that's how the doctors do it. So thank you for watching this episode of the Paul Chandler Show, and have an awesome rest of your night. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's so easy. It's right there. A little button. Just push it. Subscribe. I got all night. Nothing else to do. Just subscribe.